And let me start recording. All right, we are ready to roll. It is Wednesday. Hey, we're here for another Wellness Wednesday together. I am always so excited. This is one of my highlights of the week. Thank you for joining me this Wednesday as we start a new topic. We're going into a new series that I'm really excited about, actually. It's all about, let's just share. It's going to be about morning routines. And for the next few episodes, we're going to be talking about one of my favorite morning routines, which is Abhyanga, self-massage. So if you've never heard of it before, if you've never joined me for a Wellness Wednesday before, let me introduce myself. My name is Baptiste, and I am an executive wellness coach. I am the founder of Acheloa Wellness. I'm an international speaker, corporate well-being consultant, and a host of other things. But my focus is to help empower you to break through any current stressors that are affecting you from XYZ, from being healthy, from having your peak performance at your job, from having relationships that give you value. Because if you're not well in your own physical body or in your mental state, then it's really hard to be at your best in any other way. And I think most of us can probably admit that when we're off, when our game is off, it starts to crumble, it starts to snowball into all of the other areas of our life. So we're going to focus on the next few episodes specifically about these morning routines that have made an incredible impact in my life and in the lives of my clients. This is something that I recommend almost for every single client because they can benefit from it. And so we're talking about a self-massage. And in Ayurveda, it's called Abhyanga. In Sanskrit, that just means massage, self-massage, or really just massage. You can do it, you can pay for it. So you'll see if you go to an Ayurvedic spa that they have that as a service. But what I'm teaching you today is how you can do it in a way that is cheap and easy. And whenever you're ready for it, it's ready for you because you can do it right at home. And with quarantine, with COVID, with everything going on, it's really important that we have these tools that are accessible 24/7. So this is one that is going to really change your life. I promise you, if you give this an opportunity, invite this one technique into your life, you will see a difference in your confidence. You will see a difference in your skin. You will see a difference in your strength, in your just willingness and ability to do all the things that you want to do. And so if you don't believe me, let me go right to the text from the Vedas, from the Charak Samhita, which is one of the oldest texts that dates at least 3,500 years old, but they say it could even be as old as 5,000 years. And so specifically for Abhyanga, in this one text, it says, the body of one who uses oil massage regularly does not become affected much, even if subjected to, hold on, let me just pin my video. Okay. Even if subjected to injury or strenuous work. By using oil massage daily, a person is endowed with pleasant touch, trimmed body parts, and becomes strong, charming, and least affected by old age. Now, if you're not committed to that, then I don't know, right? But it's telling you right here that it helps, right? Pleasant touch is a really important thing. And so we're talking about just self-massage. We're keeping it platonic today. But the idea of it is that touch is one of our five senses. And often we ignore it until we are going to these non-platonic things where we're craving sex or we're craving physical, more, other forms of touch. But let me say, just by doing this one technique, you can start to feel so much better. And so what an Abhyanga can do is it can balance any imbalance in dosha. And so if you're not sure what dosha is, we've talked about it in a couple of prior episodes, but it's essentially one of the three, or there are three biological humors that impact our physical and our mental state. And so if they get out of hand, Abhyanga helps quell that, which is a really powerful thing. It helps boost your digestion. It helps strengthen the 7 layers of tissues that reside in the body. It harmonizes the flow of prana. So a lot of us think of prana as just the breath in and out, the oxygen that flows in our body, but it's actually the life force that gives us energy, stamina, and so much more. And then lastly, and importantly, an Abhyanga can help nurture the mind, the body, and the spirit. So I alluded to that just slightly, but it is said, it's right here. The effect that it can do that is a really powerful technique. And so I don't want to underestimate this because it can sound so simple. It can sound really superficial. It can sound, well, how can that work? But I promise you that this can change your life. If you're someone dealing with anxiety now because of COVID, it can benefit you. If you're dealing with constipation, it will benefit you. If you're lethargy, feeling stuck, if you're feeling too hot-headed, if you're dealing with psoriasis, if you're dealing with really dry skin that's just really flaky and not hydrated, it can be beneficial for all of those things and so much more. And so I wanted to take a few minutes to talk about this because it is so important to your own well-being. And so over the next couple of episodes, let's see how long it takes to get through some of this content. So today we'll talk about more of the why, the how to do it, and a general oil rule that you can use. But as we go into next episodes, we'll talk about specifically for your dosha. We'll remind you of what those doshas are, and then how you can do and customize the massage that works best for you. I love the comments that are coming in. Always feel free to share. I'm seeing, first of all, that you're enjoying the tip. So I'm so happy. You will love Abhyanga if you're not already practicing it. And then I'm seeing that somebody just shared, I myself just got a mustard oil, got myself a mustard oil for an Abhyanga. It has a strong smell, but promised to help with weight maintenance. And that is definitely for sure, Mariana. I so appreciate you, or Marina, miss you. Thank you for sharing. And also welcome to everybody else that's here, Lindsay, Matthew, Tabitha, and then everyone else who just joins. Alessandra, so excited. Amazing. All right, so let's get into it because I know you guys are just as excited as I am to dive into this content. So let's do it right now. Okay, so how do you do this? What I want to start with is the oil that you'll use. So a lot of us in the Western world, we use massage, we use lotion, and lotion is can be filled with chemicals and creams and things that we don't need. So in Ayurveda, I think we've heard this a lot now, we know the skin is our largest organ, and we want to make sure that we are nourishing it with the same things that we would put in our body. And so if you're not willing to take a spoonful of your lotion and literally swallow it, I question if you're using a product that's serving you. So I want to invite you to think about two oils that are really simple, really accessible. You can find them on Amazon. You can find them in a lot of grocery stores. And one is coconut oil, which a lot of us are familiar with. And then the other is sesame oil, not toasted sesame oil. I get that question a lot. And so I just want to clarify, it is raw sesame oil. So if you look at the color, it should have a light golden amber color versus a beer, which would have a darker, right? Toasted has that like Guinness looking effect. I don't want toasted sesame. We want that raw sesame oil. And the reason for that, it's a whole different element. It's really a whole different oil and product. So I want to make sure you're using those two. In terms of coconut, you can use refined or unrefined. I would just focus on getting something that's organic, focus on something that you would literally eat and consume yourself, because you want to be nourishing your skin with an oil that would serve you. So let's get into it. So now that we have our oils, how do I know which one's for which purpose, or why do I have these two? And just a general rule of thumb, and we'll talk about it a little bit deeper of maybe when you might use one or the other, but the general rule is in hot weather, you would use coconut oil. So in the summertime, you're using more of a coconut oil base. And when you're cold, you would use, and in cold weather, you would use sesame oil. Coconut has cooling properties. Sesame oil has warming properties. So as you're thinking through, as you wake up in the morning, am I hot or am I cold? You can adjust and choose the oil that is best for you. Now, a lot of times I'll even see when I go to the store, there are coconut sesame blends, and that's to kind of meet us all in the middle. So you can blend them together. But you'll notice that maybe during particular seasons or in extreme weather, you would want definitely one or the other, not both together. So I hope that's helpful. Okay, now that we have our oil, how do we do an Abhyanga? How do we do a self-massage? And the idea is we want to start on an empty stomach. So a lot of times when I recommend this to clients, I often recommend that they do it first thing in the morning, right? That's what we're talking about in our morning routine series. You want this to be done on an empty stomach, and it helps reduce any digestive disturbance. We don't want to affect the digestion. As we've learned, the digestion affects so much. Anything from the mouth to the colon is our GI tract, and we want to protect that to the greatest extent. So we want to make sure that what we're doing on our skin doesn't disrupt that. And you'll notice, you'll even hear maybe don't go in the sun after you eat a meal, don't take a shower after you eat a meal, because that actually disrupts your digestion, because it's moving your heat, it's moving your body's energy to the skin and the surface layer, as opposed to digesting that meal. So I hope that makes sense. And as you're thinking through, that might be something as you start. I mean, who wants to also massage a really full belly after you just ate dinner? So in some ways it can feel like common sense, but in other ways there is rationale behind why we don't want to do that. And so we take our oil, and you can either keep it at room temperature, which I often do. I don't always have a ton of time to heat it up. But if you want a really nourishing massage in the winter, what you can do is take a little bit of oil, put it in a mason jar, and then put it in a double boil. So if you don't know what a double boil is, it's essentially when you boil water and then you put the oil in the water. You don't want to heat the oil directly. That can, it can change the properties of the oil. So we want to make sure it's a gentle warming of that oil. And again, you want it just warm enough that you're comfortable applying it to your skin. So you can do a finger test and see if the temperature is right for you. And if so, go for it. So once we've warmed our oil, once we're ready to go, we are gonna do exactly what we think. We're gonna massage ourselves with the oil. And so I invite you to take the oil, and if you're not going out that night, or if you maybe once a week, you start all the way in the hair and the scalp, and you can oil the entire head. And then you can even oil the muscles on top of the eyes. You can oil the ears, even the inside of the ear. So much dryness from all the movement we have going on, so much news that we hear, negativity. It's really nice to even get all the orifices. So you can do your ears, in your nose, you can even do your mouth. Some of us have heard of oil pulling. While you're massaging, you can do some oil pulling with the sesame or the coconut oil. And so that's just a whole head massage, and you can really get into the muscles of your face and then work your way down your body. So really getting into the muscles. I like to work my way from the head all the way to the toes. There's no perfect way to do this. And there are techniques that will serve you, but for most of us, if we go from the head down, you'll be likely fine. There's no major impacts if we do anything other ways. It just shifts the energy. So this creates a really grounded energy. For a lot of us that are feeling the ungroundedness of what this whole pandemic has done for us, go from the head down. It'll be nice and stabilizing, which a lot of us will benefit from. And so what we're going to want to do is really massage all the layers of the skin. And so when I get asked how much oil, I'll often say, see if you can apply a quarter of a cup of oil to your body. Your body will stop absorbing the oil at some point, but you want to keep applying it until there's an oily layer on your skin. So if you just oil it and then 2 minutes later you go back and your skin is dry, it wants more oil. So keep oilinating the entire body. So I usually do one round and then I see what's still dry, and then I apply more, rub in more, massage more, and it's really nice. And so one thing that you want to make sure you're massaging is under the armpits, under the arms, right? Some of the major lymphatic tissues are right here. Any breast tissue, any stomach, any organs, right? We want to massage those. We do it in a nice clockwise direction. We could do the hips also on the sides of the hips. It can help with any dry skin, cellulite, stretch marks. It's just nice to moisturize. And really, it's just loving ourselves, loving this part of our body, any parts of our body that needs so much really positive attention. And one awesome question I'm getting right now is, would I suggest doing it standing or sitting up? To be honest, it doesn't matter. I know people who will lay down a towel and sit on that towel and massage themselves. So if you have any balance issues, definitely recommend sitting down in your bathroom or maybe even on your toilet, whatever feels good. I often stand. For me, I'm more on the go. I'm into a routine, so that works for me, but it's really finding what nourishes you, what makes you feel good. The word in Ayurveda for oil is sneha, and sneha also means love. And this idea of applying oil on the on the body, is a practice of love. So when we do this, you're not just like slathering it on and getting getting out the door. You're really applying it in a loving way. All right, we are coming up on time. Wow, I can spend hours talking about Abhyanga. But what I'll say, just to be really mindful, be careful. The oil makes the shower slippery. You want to make sure to soap the floor when you're done. You want to make sure that you're not leaving oil slicks. You want to make sure that you're really balanced. Also, keep in mind that over time, these towels can get really oily. And if over time they're too oily, it can become a bit of a fire hazard. I've gotten to the point, if I have an old t-shirt or a towel that just starts to turn, the color fades, it just feels oily when I'm grabbing it, I just ditch it. So make sure you have that towel, that oily t-shirt, that thing that you use for your Abhyanga. Contraindications, really important that we're mentioning this before we cut today's episode. Contraindications for Abhyanga include if you're sick, if you have a cold, if you have a flu, if you have the fever. Do not do this. The idea is you want your body to rest. It needs to do the inner work. Don't force it. Don't pull things to the surface. Also contraindicated for those that are pregnant, unless approved by an Ayurvedic physician or a gynecologist or some other doctor. You likely don't want to over massage, especially the area where the baby is growing. The first 3 to 4 days of menstruation is also contraindicated. And the idea is that the body is made to rest. Those first few days of menstruation, you don't want to overdo it. So be kind to yourself, take a few days off. And if you really feel like your skin is dry, apply it, but then move on, right? Just one layer, just like you would a normal lotion, and then you can move forward. And then the last one is it's contraindicated for anyone that's experiencing serious ama. Now, I know in the Western world, we don't really understand what that means. So if there's a lot of toxicity in the body, a lot of body aches, heavy coatings of white on the tongue, which we're going to talk about in a future episode, tongue scraping. It's coming in the next few weeks. So be excited. I so am. If you have sluggish digestion, really slow, or if you feel bad smells coming from the breath or the body that aren't just because you worked out, like if you just notice there's odor, there might be a lot of toxicity. And then what you're doing is you're actually locking in some of that heat, that moisture, that toxicity. So that might not be of most service to you. So it's important that you just know those few things that would be contraindicated. But for most of us, it's beautiful at all ages of life. You can see new mamas massaging their babies right after they're born. And you can also see elders in their oldest days who are dealing with a lot of dryness, massaging every single day. Now, a lot of us, again, don't do this every day, but most of us can do this throughout our entire life. And that's one of the most beautiful gifts, one of the most beautiful things is that positive, loving touch. I'm getting some comments that they love the tongue scraping, and that is coming. So I'm excited to share that. But for today, let's just start there. We talked about why Abhyanga is great. We talked about how to do it. And we also mentioned the contraindications. So let's start with that. And we even talked about, right, the oils that you can get. So maybe this week, see if you can go on Amazon, grab these oils, and see if you can try it once or twice. There's a couple of resources I'll include on the blog that you can learn more in the meantime. But next week, we'll talk about more specific oils, even essential oils you can pair depending on your dosha. We can even talk about different techniques. Right now, we talked head to toe. We can talk about why toe to head might be beneficial, what time of year that might be great. But for now, that's it. I wanted to just share this. This is one of the most important things that I share with my clients. This is one of the most grounded things that gave me confidence and stability in my own personal well-being. So I want to share it with you. So I'm here for you every single Wednesday at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And if for some reason you're catching this on the replay, #replay, let me know that you watched this and I'll catch up with you. Last thing that I want to share is in the month of September, I am doing Ayurvedic health consults for a discount. I'm doing them for $50 less than they are, which is a huge savings. It's over a third off. And what this helps you do is understand what your body needs to thrive. As we shift from the summer to the fall, I know I'm saying it, as we start to shift into the colder weather, it's a really great time to reset the body. It's a great time to consider what the body needs to thrive. So if you're going through different stages in your life, maybe you're planning for pregnancy, maybe you're going through a job shift, maybe you just want to make sure that COVID keeps you healthy, reach out to me and take advantage of this offer. It's really a special offer. It's an incredible experience that will help you learn tools that will benefit you specifically for the rest of your life. So if you're interested, reach out here, tag me wherever, email me, lauren@acheloawellness.com. It is my honor, my pleasure, a privilege to be here with you every single week. I'll see you next Wednesday. Let's keep going into this. Have a great rest of your week. Take care. Thanks for joining, Matthew. So nice to have you here. All right, have a great one.